Everybody, I am here and live, hopefully. Let me know in the chat if you cannot hear me. And yeah, this is going to be a really relaxed live stream. I'm not at all doing a marathon. I am really tired. It has been a hell of a week. I've been trying to put out as much content this week as possible across all platforms to take advantage of Johnny Depp's big appearance at Cannes. And there was also big stuff going on with Marilyn Manson this week. He finally posted something new on Instagram, says he's got new music coming out for us to hear. I think it was basically his way of saying, F you, I'm not going away. And in fact, I'm going to come back in a big way. So good for him. He and Depp both back. And the media can just whine if they want to and keep on talking about, people's stained teeth and whatever the fuck they want to do. And these guys are just going to keep winning. So that's what's up. I see that Eve Barlow has been posting maniacally about Amber Heard this week. I think Eve Barlow has really lost it. We can talk about that in a little while. But like the stuff that she's putting on, putting on Instagram is insane. Somebody says, "How long will this be?" It's not going to be any longer than 2 hours because I'm tired. I didn't even want to do this live stream, frankly, but I'm gonna have a good attitude about it. People wanted me to do one, but no, I'm exhausted. It's been a long week, and there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes too that that I'm working on and others are working on that in due time you will see and appreciate, I think. So anyway, but yeah, I think Eve's lost her mind. And Amber Heard's been out and about in Spain and talking to people, and I'm very curious about her Spanish. That's another thing we'll talk about in a moment. I took a lot of Spanish in high school and college and got to the point where I was fluent. But I was always told that the kind of Spanish that we speak here in Texas or that they speak in Mexico is different from the kind of Spanish that they speak in Spain. So I don't really understand how Amber Heard, who learned to speak Spanish in Texas, is now fluent in proper European Spanish. That's a little, I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible to learn how to speak proper European Spanish. I'm just saying I didn't know she knew how to speak that. I just think it's a little strange, but whatever. Anyway, so I'm going to bring Celtic Iron on for a bit, and yeah, we'll go for it. So, hey, what's up?
Hello, how's it going? Happy
Good,
Sunday.
good.
It is pretty funny. I don't know if it was Eve Barlow or not, but last Sunday I suspected that I walked by her in a Starbucks at Crescent Heights and Sunset, but I did not say hello or anything. I just looked at her and was like, "Oh, is that Eve Barlow? Jesus, that's an unattractive human being."
You think it really
And
was her?
I'm pretty sure, like, yeah. I mean, it was the Sunset in Crescent Heights, just like 2 blocks away from the Chateau Marmont. So it's a trendy neck of town. And so I was like, oh yeah, there's a lot of writers and like musicians live around there. So yeah, I mean, a trendy neck of town.
You want to say hi to
Uh,
my mom for a second before you continue?
hi mom, how's it
My,
going?
there's
God
my
bless you.
mom. Mom, you need to leave a super chat donation if you want me to showcase your comment.
That's hilarious.
No, I'm joking. Okay, go ahead, Celtic.
But yeah, I did think it was funny during the week how Johnny Depp was at Cannes. The news people were asking him some uncomfortable questions, or not even uncomfortable questions for him, clearly uncomfortable questions for them, you know. But the main walkaway I thought was hilarious was then Amber Heard. For some reason, we haven't heard from her in a long time as well, but somehow, oh, there's news people outside her new home in Spain that she's just bought, and here she is coming outside, and it just looked so staged. The footage of her
Do you want to
coming
watch
outside.
that? Yeah, let's
If you
watch it for a
want, yeah,
second
throw
since
it
you
on.
brought it up. 1 second. All right, I've got a few things prepared here. So yeah, let's watch Amber Heard. Just a second. Okay. All right, here we go. I want to watch a little bit of this. See if you can keep from gagging, audience.
Amber, ¿qué tal tu nueva vida aquí en Madrid?
Me encanta España, muchísimo.
¿Te vas a quedar por aquí?
Espero que puedo, sí, me encanta vivir aquí. Ok, bueno, espero que te pase bien, chao. Y gracias, fue un placer conocerse a usted también.
¿Televisivos y eso tienes?
¿Cómo?
Proyectos
¿Cómo?
Sí.
¿Sí? ¿Vas a estar en el Festival de Cannes?
Sigo adelante,
Sí.
Eso es la vida. Chao.
Es la vida, ciao. All right, go on.
Okay, that was actually a lot better. I hadn't seen that before. That was a lot better than what I had seen. I'd seen one where she comes out of her front door and looks over the wall to the news people across the street, and then comes down the stairs, collects a package, and then like tries to not make eye contact with the camera. But then this clip that you showed me here is way better looking than the one that I saw. This one, like, she's clearly trying to get across that she hasn't a care in the world, and she looks like she hasn't got a care in the world. So maybe her acting has gotten a lot better. But just she couldn't leave it alone. Couldn't have Johnny Depp just do his thing at Cannes and have questions. She had to get out there and be like, oh, look, just in case anyone forgot about me, I'm having a great time. I've got a new house. It's on a main street. I mean, that's what 2 million gets you these days in Spain. We are in a global recession, so that's a tough break there. But I just thought it was funny. It was like, clearly this is a really busy street. This isn't like a salubrious private place to be. This is like a busy main street that she's got this new house on. And then even in one of the news broadcasters, the news broadcaster mentions that, like, oh, and I want to assure everybody that the camera doesn't do the house justice. This is a very impressive looking house. I'm like, no, it's not. It looks like a shit house. It looks like a tenement. You can see how shallow it is as well, and it's right. There's no front garden. And then you can see the partitioning wall at the back. That's what 2 million gets you. That's a rough break. That's what was immediately what I thought. I was like, that's all 2 million gets you in Spain. Balls. But she didn't shy away from the camera in that clip that you shared with us there. And she had to get out there and remind everybody, I'm a very happy victim. I wasn't found guilty of anything. I'm clearly not embarrassed or ashamed to show my face. I've lost a lot of the weight that I was carrying. Okay, she's clearly come down by about 15 or 20 pounds since last year, and I think she's got some nice touch-ups done. She's clearly not. Spain has a lot of money. It is a wealthy empire. It was dominant. It was a world leader in the 1400s. They were the original conquistadors that came to America to find the New World, and so it has a long history. It's easily argued that America is the New World and Europe is where all the history comes from. So Michelangelo, Donatello, all these famous artists from the Renaissance period, they were never in America. It's all in Europe. So she's done well for herself to start this new life. She's got the child. She's in Spain. The child will be fluent in Spanish there, living in the country. And she'll always be that blonde American actress. And that'll be that if she decides to, go that way. There's no way she's coming back to Hollywood. No studio will hire her. So where's she getting the money from? She could have, just like any of the professional girls that I work with, having 6 boyfriends isn't that uncommon. So having a roster of 6 to 20, she's an international girl. She does a lot of methamphetamines. She can keep track of things. If one thing that we learned from that trial was she is a digital lady living in a digital world and knows how to manipulate information on computers. So give credit where credit's due. I mean, I wish her all the success. She's got a 2 million house. She got away with being found guilty, didn't have to pay any money. And that's the end of that. She still gets to be that American, tall, blonde, entitled actress, just never to set foot again in America, Always in Spain. Always in Spain.
Yeah, she's like a female Roman Polanski, right? We don't want her over here.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
She cost a lot of people a lot of money. It never had to go that way. She could have had the world in the palm of her hands. She was married to Johnny Depp. And she had to blow it all up. And time again, literally that entire trial was a girlfriend and a boyfriend argument. You ever see the film White Men Can't Jump with Woody Harrelson?
I have.
And his girlfriend asks him to get a glass of water, and then he goes and gets her a glass of water immediately, and then they get into like this 5-minute argument about if he should have gotten her the glass of water or not. This trial was that, a boyfriend and girlfriend argument, but all your lawyers are getting involved. And literally it took Harvard and Yale educated lawyers and a trial jury across 6 weeks to be like, look, she's wrong. Look what she did. Look what she did. And she could have backed off at any point, but she, the level of entitlement, God bless it. And they're still going on with it. There's that Kate Tenenbarge woman. There's that bleeding Eve Barlow. I mean, these people, this is like your one Woody Harrelson's ex-wife that accused him of convinced the child that he was an abuser. It's like, she's going to be
Woody Allen, not Woody Harrelson.
Allen.
Let's not start a new one.
Woody Allen, sorry. Yeah. No, this is going to be these people's trumpeting song for the foreseeable future. That's all they have. It's the biggest thing in any of their worlds. Eve Barlow, that Kate Tenenbaum girl and Amber Heard, Johnny Depp, any connection to Johnny Depp, it's the biggest thing in any of their lives by a million. And that's no exaggeration. That's of course, that's the closest thing that they could ever be identified by. Never mind having kids, never mind what any of their relatives might have achieved or will achieve. This is the only thing that they'll ever have in their history. That's all.
Well, Eve Barlow, I had heard that I'd heard some people saying that Eve Barlow she hadn't been seen around Amber in a while, and people were speculating if maybe they had a breakup or a friend breakup or whatever. But then she came out in full force this week. I guess Eve is back to being basically Amber's Joseph Goebbels, doing
I like
propaganda for
that.
Amber Heard.
That's
Look, I wanted to look at
propagandist. That's a good one. That's a
yeah, I
good
wanted
one.
to look at some of the crazy stuff that Eve has on Instagram, has put out on Instagram this
With
week.
regards to the old L'Oreal.
Well, yeah, and a bunch of other crazy stuff. So here's a couple of the L'Oreal ones. So she says, "Tell L'Oreal that standing with survivors is worth it. Amber is worth it." And then it says, "Speaking truth to power, worth it." And then it says, "Why is it important to you that Amber is a L'Oreal brand ambassador?" And then finally, this is my favorite of this post. "What does Amber mean to you?" Eve, I would highly suggest that you don't inquire with the public about their perception of Amber Heard, because I don't think you're going to get the responses that you want.
Well, at the end of the day, the reality is that I only got 945 likes on Instagram, and this video or live stream is going to get more views than that within the next 24 hours. So I wouldn't really worry about that. That's not a big deal.
I'm worried. I worry a little bit about what's going to happen to Eve's psyche one day when it finally does dawn on her. Like, she's almost like one of these people. I've been talking about cults a bit on my channel, and she's almost like one of these people who's like, she's in the cult of Amber. And I'm just waiting for one day her to get, like, she needs someone to like sit her down in a chair and deprogram her or something, because she has lost it. Look at this. Here's another one. She posted this. This was really strange. It was she posted a picture of the con red carpet, and then there's this cutout here, like we're looking at a paper doll, and it says. And then it says, "You can't empower women in cinema if you abandon them in the face of sexism." And then again, asking these questions. Why? And then says, "Why isn't Amber Heard at con?" Well, Amber Heard is not at con, first of all, because she has never put in a performance or been in a film worthy of Cannes Film Festival. So first of all,
was she ever in a film that was at Cannes?
God, I hope not. I don't think so.
Was she? And the only time she was at Cannes, I imagine, would be on the arm of Johnny Depp, right? Just like the Met Gala.
If you were there, yeah. If you were there,
and this is what I'm saying. Like this is the coolest. This was all the peak for all of them. Life is only going down from here. Like Johnny Depp connection, that was the peak, and that's it. That's the reality. Look, it got 596 likes. What are we talking about here? We're nobody's. We're giving them more of a platform than they have for themselves.
And then today she posted, and I don't know who these idiots are. She says, "The revolution has begun in France. French film crew of I'm terrible at French, but Les Ravissements taking a stand on stage at Cannes while other feminists mark the street with words." So I don't know if you can see this well or not, but we've got some of these losers here. Apparently,
no way they're wearing Amber Heard t-shirts.
They have Amber Heard shirts on. Well, I'd like to send them one of my "Fuck You Amber Heard" t-shirts. Someone needs to wear that. But no, they've got her face plastered on their chest, and then she also is showing pictures, Eve. Apparently, there's some graffiti artists who are going around Paris writing things like "Votre violence vous Depp" and "rapist under spotlights." So give me a break.
What do they think's going to happen here? It's going to get the same exposure as when somebody spray painted Clapton as God in London in 1963. I could get you all that done for $3,000, no problem. I get you a couple of kids wearing Amber t-shirts and writing shit on walls. They're art students. Are you kidding me? They're struggling art students in Europe. They'd love all that shit. Yeah, Rage Against the Machine. Get a couple of teenagers, a couple of college kids, no problem. Break them off $2,000. Hey, put on these t-shirts, spray paint some shit and take some arty photos, send them to me. I'll give you another $2,000. Go do that. There you go. There's the money for the supplies. Send me the photos. I'll send you more money. Boom. You know, viva la resistance. Yeah, the French would love that.
Yeah, there have been so many, and there have been so many negative articles to the media. They're still trying to push this BS narrative. I saw that Tug, that umbrella guy, he posted about this one recently. I mean, there've been a ton of them, but this one recently in The Guardian. Just a second, I'll pull it up. So The Guardian posted this today. It's written by another crazy person. I guess maybe their version of Cat Ten Barge. It says Depp comes up smelling of roses despite defamation trials. Catalog of misogyny. I think it's more of a catalog of Amber Heard's lies.
Yeah, a catalog of abuse against him. What the fuck? So they're just reading, like, never mind the trial. She was found guilty of fucking defamation. Excuse my language, everybody. Subscribe to my new channel, Hammer of the Gods, on YouTube. But yeah, so she was found guilty of defamation. Never mind that. We're just going to rewrite the narrative and, like, no, in that trial, it was proven that he was a misogynist. Was it? I don't believe that was what was on trial. No, what was on trial was her defaming the guy with malice, you know, and she was found guilty of malice. Oh,
right,
wow.
right. And then, of course, you know, I'm sure that you saw this the last few days, and I've been making some TikTok videos and stuff addressing this, but everybody is obsessed now with Johnny Depp's teeth. It seems like some people have just discovered that he doesn't have perfectly pristine teeth. And so, yeah, I mean, the guy, you know, he's had a full life, a lot of partying, smoking, all kinds of things. Maybe he really likes, you know, sweet tarts. I don't know. But some of these pictures really look doctored, and I'm not sure if we've
imagine the women that have kissed and licked and sucked those teeth.
All right.
Vanessa Paradis, fucking Kate. Well, you know what I mean. Like when you stick your tongue, you know.
No.
Kate Moss, Vanessa Paradis, Helena Christensen. I mean, Depp's Johnny Depp, man. He's Jack Nicholson of his time.
Nobody cares about Johnny Depp's teeth except these haters in the media who want to have something to rag on him about. And so, and you know,
the marketing people at Colgate have a thing or two to say. That's what they're getting at there.
He's yeah, well, Johnny, you know, they've ragged on him for everything that they can think of this week. He was late to the press conference for Jean du Barry, and he wasn't tremendously late, but he was late to the press conference, and nobody seemed to care except some of these haters in the media. Oh my God, he's late again. You know, they love talking about his habitual lateness.
Yeah, it's probably because he was shooting heroin in between his toes in the car.
Oh, of course, that's what they would have us believe.
While getting fellatioed by a 16-year-old prostitute from Paris. You know, something misogynistic, classically, comedically misogynistic.
Yep, that's what they would have us believe. And so, anyway, it's been an entire week of Johnny Depp, you know, basically having one win after another. And you know, it's the Cannes thing was great. It was a real triumph because with Cannes, you don't just have the premiere. You know, you have the red carpet and you have the photo call and you have the whole press circuit. And so he's doing multiple interviews, and it really just makes him look like he is back. And then you have Amber, who everyone understands has had to scurry away to Spain so that hopefully, you know, she can pass a little easier in Europe. I'm surprised that she, you know, if it were me, I were living under that kind of shame, I would dye my hair, I think, and try to go a different route. But I understand it's her trademark, and she's got to make some money, so she's going to have to make money on her infamy. And so these fans who come to her apartment and stand outside, and she comes outside. I saw today and was taking pictures with some of them, and I'm thinking, do you really think that these people are taking a picture with you or want to take a picture with you because they think you're so great, or because they think you're some kind of a laughingstock freak show? It's clearly the latter. But she doesn't have, you know, she doesn't have many options. So she has to kind of play it off like, no, I've got a bunch of fans. Just like during the trial, when she was showing off the artwork that her fans had sent her, or the posters that they had sent her, except people noticed that the posters were not folded and did not look well worn at all. And so it was clearly just a poster that Amber Heard had made herself and was trying to pass off as something that she had gotten from fans.
What about the one where the girl that was part of her PR team stopped the car and gave them flowers, and she, puts her hand on her heart and accepts the driver accepts them and then gives them to Amber, and Amber puts her hands on her heart. It's like, for these fucking flowers that were passed to the car. It was just like, yeah. There was one person waiting there to give her flowers out of the thousands of people for Johnny Depp. Yeah, no,
Right.
I remember the posters as well. They were debunked very quickly. I was like,
Right.
how were these given her? They're kind of immaculate. The whole thing's just desperate.
So, what did you think this week about Johnny Depp with Con, though? Did you kind of
I thought
follow
he looked
things?
great. I enjoyed the fashion as well of what's her name, Heather or Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway wearing Versace. I thought that was awesome. And then Johnny Depp looked great, and yeah, I thought the coverage was great. I thought he looked really healthy. I also liked the coverage of Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro for their film. I know Johnny Depp. It's funny that he in all the news cycles, his presence just dominated the entire week, it seems, in show business. But there actually was like a lot of other films going on. There was a film about that some of the porn girls were in. 6 of them were over there in Cannes as well, and it's Cannes is a big festival.
They're
There's
screening
lots of other.
porn at Con, or it's a
No,
legitimate, it's a film
no,
about the porn industry.
it's a legitimate film that used girls from the porn industry as the victims. It's like
Oh, okay.
a horror film, a
Okay.
slasher. A slasher is, I believe, the type of film as they describe them as in the horror industry. And yeah, 6 of the girls were from the porn industry because they're all running around with their tits flopping around before they get murdered.
Well, as they have to in a horror film, right?
In a slasher film, yeah, I believe that's quite
Right.
traditional for them. So yeah, that's what I saw of it. Other than the week, I've just been working on my own YouTube channel, Hammer of the Gods. I put the link in the chat there. I don't know if it comes up for you or
Your link
anybody
tree
else.
is below in the
Oh,
description of this
excellent.
video. Yeah. So
Oh yeah, so it'll be in there then.
but yeah, Hammer of the Gods, people check it out. And you got slapped down by YouTube. You had multiple channels that were canceled, and you were even barred from using Google. Have you fixed that yet?
No, yeah,
They really don't like you.
Yeah, no, I
I'm gonna
had to
close
get a
this
new.
window.
I had to get a new phone number, and I had to get a new account. They kicked off my channel, Chronicles of Celtic Iron, when it had 12,000 subscribers, and so I started a new channel. And even on the new channel, I've got age restriction. I literally, a video yesterday, I copied. It was called "Gotta Grow These Hams." There's a girl called Lean Beef Patty. I saw her video and I was like, oh, I'll just do exactly that. And I'll use the same song and I'll use the same poses and I'll even wear the same clothes. And so I did exactly that. I put it up and then they age restricted. And I was just like, well, what's the point of this thing? Like, no matter what, they like, and then I obviously I responded to it, and then within 2 hours they responded back, no, we've decided it goes against our policy. We're still going to age restrict. And I'm like, dude, like, yeah, it's a real pain in the ass to get traction on YouTube. But I've been posting 3 videos a day, every day for the last 14 days. I've got 97 subscribers. I was hoping to get to 100 by Friday, but I didn't. So anybody out there, if you want to be in my first 100 subscribers,
I bet we can
please
get you
don't.
over. Yeah, I bet we can get you
We'll
over.
see.
So
But yeah, that's the reality, man. I want to have more subscribers on, because it's all I'm promoting is health and fitness. Okay, if you happen to get flash shots of my manhood, my glorious man, my professionally glorious and award-winning manhood, that's not my concern. The fact that I wear shorts or I wear like clothes, like I wear great tracksuit bottoms, and YouTube is saying like, oh, that's offensive. But when girls wear leggings that you can see their camel toe in and they're showing off their complete ass, it's like, oh, that's no problem. That's no problem. But if a guy has a bit of a significant bulge going on, we got big problems here,
it's
so
not fair.
frustrating.
It isn't fair. It isn't fair. And it is an example of reverse sexism that you are penalized for conduct. Now, I will say, and this does not justify it at all, it's sexist. I will say that there is just something that is generally more, how do I want to say? Well,
Visually pleasing.
Well, I was gonna say offensive, but I was gonna say, like if I see a woman and she's wearing something and I can see kind of more of her boobs than I maybe want to, it's my feeling is like, it's a little scandal, or that's a little like, eh. But if I see a guy and there's like too much of the junk, I'm kind of like, ugh. So I think that there is a basic sort of which doesn't help you. It's unfortunate, but I do think there is a sort of a basic psychological response where people find people find male genitalia more, I don't want to say offensive is not the word, but they find it to be more, what's the term I'm trying to use? It's more, it's kind of more in your face, more shock value, right? People just kind of are like, oh yeah, the female body, it's pretty and it's curvy and nice, but people are like, but the male penis is kind of like, whoa. And so I do think you kind of have to keep that in mind. Unfortunately, it's not fair, but like, I can wear stuff that's skin tight, and it's gonna hit people differently psychologically than you wearing something that shows the cock and balls. So
yeah, I'm just trying to show people how to have stronger, healthier, and pain-free lives.
Yes,
You
that's the
know,
word.
I mean, literally, all the hashtags that I use are fitness, health, model, and bodybuilding. That's it. And
I
it gets me
agree.
penalized.
I agree. But I'm saying that is the facts of life, and so
I just can't catch a break. I'm just an immigrant living in America, man. Like, I got dreams. This is wild.
I think in your case too, and some people are like, ugh, so we're gonna get off the subject in a minute, but I think in your case too, I know I've seen pictures that you've put on Instagram before where you tell me that that's not an erect penis that I'm looking at, but it sure looks like a semi-erect penis that I'm looking at. And so I think too, it's the state that the penis is in. Like if it's a little too solid, that's a little more to people, like, because we don't, it would be kind of like if we could see a woman and we could see, like, well, I don't want to get any more specific than that, but if we could see signs of visual arousal on a woman, and then it's going to be a little more like than just, so I think maybe there's some shots you want to watch out for where maybe it looks like there's a little too much excitement.
Dude, there's girls on Instagram
but you're talking about girls. I'm telling you, facts of life, dude. It's like me saying I should be able to go out and have sex with 200,000 men and be regarded the same way as a man having sex with 200,000. It's just not going to happen. You can say I don't like it. I sympathize, but you gotta get, you gotta face reality there. But it is unfair, and I don't understand why YouTube, even apart from the male genitalia, it seems like they just in general, they do have an issue with nudity. I've heard about people, ASMR artists or whatever, who have gotten hit for just showing a little bit of cleavage or sitting or having lingerie on. So clearly, YouTube and Google, there's some prudishness, even at the same time that it seems like there's a lot of content that slips through the net on YouTube that's very offensive. People tell me that there's stuff on YouTube that's really offensive, and they keep it up there.
Yeah. I mean, dude, some of the girls, like, because I've just been trying to do what the girls are doing. I've got no illusion that I'm rewriting the reel. No. I'm just like, girls are out there making YouTube shorts where it's complete, right, zoomed up close. Their entire ass, okay, is filling the screen, and then like you can make out the ass and then the camel toe, and it's just like, and then their bare feet, and then the feet are in the shot as well, and it's just like, yo, bro, this is not yoga instructions, okay? And I get it. It kind of does, but it works as well as the thing, because it does make me say, I should stretch out. That does look like it feels good, but it's not the yoga that they're selling. They're clearly driving traffic. Like, I get it. They're driving traffic that are OnlyFans, but I'm like, yo, bro, if the girls are like killing the game like this, can you please just give an Irish immigrant a shot, Mr. Google and YouTube, for Christ almighty. When you started that channel, Chronicles of Celtic Iron, for me, that got 1,000 subscribers within the first month. Within the first month, it was monetized. This channel, I've been doing 3 uploads a day for the last 2 weeks, and I have not got 100 subscribers yet.
Well, you're not doing celebrity stuff though, right? Like that's the thing I've told you before, like when my philosophy videos, that's my favorite thing to do. They don't get hardly any views. If I'd started a channel that wasn't about Johnny Depp, that's the thing. Johnny Depp gets the views and celebrity stuff gets the views. And so it is, unfortunately, on YouTube, unless you're doing celebrity stuff or you're doing true crime or you're doing some of those history things that my guy watches with, it seems like it's nothing but boring maps all the time. If you don't do that stuff, it's like you don't get as much traction. So I don't know. But I wanted to ask you though.
I should start making videos for Johnny Depp and Marilyn Manson, how to get them a 6-pack at 60. That's what I should start doing. Come on, boys.
I like that. I like that. So I did want to ask you, since you mentioned Marilyn Manson, I wanted to talk about Marilyn Manson a bit.
Oh, he had a rough break.
Yeah. So what did you want to say about him?
Oh man, they're not letting them use the FBI letter. Like, that just seems like the big, and the fact that you're one Evan Rachel Wood, now that why isn't she, all these cases that are coming up, Why isn't her case? Why hasn't she got a case against Manson? It's just like, what an holy mother of Christ earth is going on here? It's like she was chosen by some powerful people in politics to be like, oh, we're going to use her for this because we want to get Donald Trump. Okay, and to get him, we need to change these laws. So we're going to use this white actress. Girl, look, she's all sad. She's crying. Okay, get up there, honey. Get up, get up. Yeah, there you go. Right. Say your stuff. Say your stuff. Right. We're changing laws. Now we've changed the laws. They don't give a shit if she's got a case. She got a HBO deal on the back of it. Who gives a nuts, you know? And so, see the way I said nuts instead of saying the F word? That's because I'm already being browbeaten by the, algorithm overlords, psychologically and financially. But yeah, no, it's just a travesty. And then they deny the letter, the FBI letter where this girl forged, and it was she used it in the child support and the child case against custody hearing with her ex-husband, and they're like, oh no, we can't have that come in here. That's protected under the SLAPP laws. It's like, what are you doing here? It's in California. I thought it was in New York, but it doesn't matter either way. They're democratic states. This is all on the guise of, and this whole thing as well, just like Johnny Depp and Marilyn Manson, it's all American Democrats that are trying to point the finger at people that are supporters of President Donald Trump. It's saying like, oh no, we can't have him as president because he's an abuser of women and all this sorts of stuff, because that's the case that they found, the civil case that they found Donald Trump guilty of, where now he has to pay this woman 2 or 5 or 6 million, whatever the figure is. But he never put up a defense, and he never turned up to the court. He was just like, it's a bullshit. I never even met that woman, is what he said, But it's going back 25 years, just like Evan Rachel Wood got up there to change the time of liability for the laws. So it's just, she was used as a pawn. Marilyn Manson's career has been ruined just on the back of politics. He's just collateral damage to all this chaos that's going on in American identity politics. And who's the real one that's bringing it all down? Our big overlords. And I believe in a one China. They're just demasculating the whole population here in America so that they can take over the world and dominate the dollar. But that's a whole other.
You lost me on the China thing.
Yeah, I know. It took a turn. You got to follow Cynthia McKinney on Twitter. It's a whole thing. Don't worry about it. It goes back to the Clinton Act, the Affordable Housing Act of 1993. Don't worry about it.
Well, I mean, that was a problem. That just kind of helped start the financial crisis of 2008.
Well, they're doing it again now. Now Biden is saying, "Oh, we got to be able to give loans to people." But again, they're giving loans to people knowing that these people aren't going to be able to pay the money back. So it's like, and then of course that's going to be rampant with corruption, just like it was in the Clinton era. So same old tricks.
We are out of money. I mean, our country's broke, and people and everybody's acting like we're not broke. And so I don't know. At some point, we're going to have a financial reckoning, like a real reckoning. I'm not talking about like even a recession. I'm talking about like Adam who's that guy who's always saying that we're going to have some kind of horrible meltdown, worse than the Great Depression.
Once China calls the trillions that's owed to it back, there's a lot of trouble. Once any country that's using the dollar as its denomination for international currencies and exchanges, that's big trouble. That's why they had to get rid of Gaddafi from Liberia and Syria, was because he was going to stop doing his oil transactions from the dollar. He was going to start using the euro. So you saw what Hillary Clinton did to that. They came, they saw, he died. That's what Hillary Clinton said.
Yep, that's true. All right. So anything else you want to tell us before you're out?
No, just if everybody could subscribe to my new YouTube channel, that would be awesome. What were you saying about Peter Schiff?
I was going to say Peter Schiff, I follow him online, and he's a big economist, and he has been for a long time now preaching that our massive debt and overspending is that finally we're going to hit a point where the house of cards is going to fall. We don't know when it is, but there's a massive house of cards with all of this debt and spending, and we just keep running it up. So anyway, he's interesting. I don't know. He's been a doomsayer for like the last 20 years. And so, I mean, I don't know, like eventually he might be proven right, but
eventually, if you keep saying the wrong time of twice a day, you're still right.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So Celtic's channel that is Hammer of the Gods. And you can look, it's in his link tree, everybody. Just look at the description right below this video that you're looking at right now. Just inch down. It says Celtic Irons links, and you can see there's his link tree. But if you want to Google it, the specific channel, it's Hammer of the Gods.
Thank you guys for subscribing. And yeah, health and fitness videos. There's 3 uploads of shorts every single day, all about health, fitness, and how to treat yourself well. Thanks for having me on. And I hope everybody is saving their money for that when the dollar does crash, it's worth nothing to you, you know.
Oh my gosh.
It's gonna be a wild one. And hey, at the end of the day, we're all living and breathing, and it's a beautiful life, and that's all we can be grateful
Well,
for.
what
you
we
know?
know is that even if things crash, there will always be porn. So I guess you're safe, right? There's 3 things in life. What is it? Death, taxes, and porn that we can count on.
Sex. Well, no, we can always count on Captain Jack Sparrow as well. Okay, he will all always have. And you know what I was thinking yesterday? A girl, because I was working with this girl, and she was born in 2003, I believe it was. So she
Uh-huh.
was 20 years old, and she was telling me about. I was like, oh yeah, Johnny Depp, you know, Pirates of the Caribbean, Edward Scissorhands. She'd never heard of Edward Scissorhands, all right, never heard of Crybaby. But she was like, oh, Captain Jack Sparrow, yeah, I grew up watching that. It's like, oh shit, yeah, there were kids that were born the first year that Pirates of the Caribbean came out, and there was kids that, like, The Lion King was a big film for me when I was growing up as a child, and even more so for my younger brother who was 7 years my junior. And like, yeah, man, Pirates of the Caribbean, there's been kids, every one of those franchises, there's been kids that were 3 and 5 years old, and 7 and 10 years old, and 12 and 15. Like, those were huge films that so many different people have different impressions of that iconic character that is Captain Jack Sparrow, that was played by Johnny Depp. You know, it's
Right.
wild. And now so many more people are getting to see him as, oh, he's a rock star. He's out touring. He's making this music that people are clearly loving and enjoying. And now he's playing Jean Dubarry in this new French film, and he's the biggest publicized actor of the Cannes Film Festival. There are people that are only consciously becoming aware of themselves now. I'm talking about 3 and 5 year olds and 5 and 7 year olds, just like I did a second ago, that, oh, he was the guy that was in that trial. Oh, he won that trial last year and 2 years ago. And, you know, and then there's other people that are just only seeing him as the star of the Cannes Film Festival. That's pretty much the biggest thing. I live in the multimedia capital of the world, right? That is Los Angeles. I'm out here every single day. I've been going to Beverly Hills, Century City, and Brentwood, taking these videos to put up on YouTube. And I stop and I have my breakfast and I have my lunch in different places. I see the papers, I see the magazines. Anne Hathaway and Johnny Depp are the 2 biggest names in fashion, all right, this week in Hollywood,
You
West
keep talking
Hollywood,
about
and
Anne
Beverly
Hathaway.
Hills.
What are you talking about? Does she have a big appearance at Cannes? I have not seen her this week.
Please, just while I'm here, go look at Anne
No,
Hathaway,
we're done with
Versace.
that. We're moving on.
Okay, everyone else, go check out Anne Hathaway, Versace. Oh my Lord in heaven, gorgeous. She looks like the Mother Teresa herself.
Maybe I've blocked it because I find her annoying. I can't actually stand Anne Hathaway.
I
But
don't like her myself. I liked her in Batman, but it's seeing her in what Donatella Versace put her in at Cannes Film Festival this week. Oh my God, it's exceptional stuff. And I'm a Neanderthal. Okay, I don't know much about style or fashion. Okay, but this looked good.
Well, I will check it out. Maybe I'll try to have an open mind about Anne Hathaway. I'll check it out when I get off the stream. But all right. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Everybody check out his new channel, Hammer of the Gods. His link tree is posted below in the description. And we will see you next time in another week or so.
Sláinte. God bless you.
All right.
Ah,
bye.
thank
Bye,
you.
Celtic. See you later. All right. So I wanted to talk about a couple of things here. So I saw someone in the comments, and I don't want to. Oh, and by the way, everyone, thank you for subbing to Celtic Iron. I see someone said that he had gotten some new subs on his channel, so that's great. Thank you. He has gotten beaten up a lot by YouTube. I don't understand what it is. Well, I mean, I guess it's what we were talking about, some of the nudity and the stuff. But there really isn't a double standard, and women do get away with a lot more. So, that's one of the things that I've tried to talk about on this channel as relates to gender and sexism, is that our society focuses on the ways in which women are subject to sexism. And of course they are. There are certain things that men can get away with that women cannot. But it seems like society doesn't ever focus on, the media never focuses on all the ways in which women have an advantage over men. And there are many of them. And so, I used to, when I was much younger, I did go through a phase, particularly I think because I had issues with my dad, where I was kind of this angry, like, feminist type, and I felt like, oh, all this sexism, and I noticed like every way in which I was slighted by men, or it seems like men were allowed to do something I wasn't, or whatever. And then I just realized over time, actually, men have it really rough in a lot of ways that are invisible to me. And once I started noticing that, I figured basically everybody's got a rough time in life, and everybody's got challenges, and there are many things that I can get away with as a woman that men cannot get away with. And so I think, I'm glad that I sort of moved on from that very one-dimensional perspective, and really saw the truth about things. Now, I just wanted to say, somebody in the chat, and I don't even remember who it was. Somebody said, "Why are we giving airtime to Eve and Amber Heard?" I No offense to who, because I don't even remember who said it now. So no offense to that person, but I'm getting really irritated and tired of being called out by people for talking about Amber Heard and Eve. I put something on Twitter the other day. It was the Eve Barlow L'Oreal thing, and I was laughing about how ridiculous it was. And I get this sanctimonious comment from someone. I told them off and I blocked them, and it was an asshole thing for me to do. But every now and then I get enough of people. But it was this sanctimonious comment about, no, not today. This is Johnny's day. I'm sorry you did that. As in, I'm sorry that you, Colonel Kurtz, put Eve Barlow's thing up about Amber Heard. And so I said, bye bye, idiot. And I blocked them for a while. And then, of course, then when I do that, then I get other people on the Twitter saying, why did you block so and so? They were just sharing their feelings. And I'm like, well, I blocked them because I'm irritated by them. I don't want to have to see them anymore, which I can do on my Twitter page. And so I guess what I would say is, if you don't like the way I'm covering things, then start your own YouTube channel. I don't understand people who come on here and get on my case about talking about Amber or Eve or whatever. Like, okay, you don't approve, then do your own thing. It's and I would take it more seriously maybe from people if they were like, big fans of mine, or donated a lot, or had a lot of interactions with them. But it's just kind of like, who is this random person and who do they think that they are? I understand the point that some of you are trying to make about how you don't think that we should give oxygen to Amber and Eve. Okay, I guess we should never talk about anyone who ever does anything bad or annoying ever again. Let's only talk about good things and good people. Well, you make a channel and you call it Good Things and Good People, and then you post about that. But on my channel, I'm going to talk about a lot of things. And one of the things I'm going to talk about are these freak shows and these crazy lunatics like Amber Heard and Eve Barlow. And I guess the other point that I would make is that even if I stop talking about these people, guess what? There's still going to be a ton of other people talking about them, and their message does get out. In fact, basically the mainstream media, they are still carrying water, as we know, for Amber Heard and her ilk. So to me, I've just never been a fan of denial. My whole life, I have had people telling me, and I'm talking about even like personally, like in my personal life, why do you think about negative things? No wonder you're depressed, think about positive things. Well, my response is, when I find myself in a world where there are no negative things, then I won't need to talk about negative things anymore. But we're in a messed up world. We're in a fucked up world with a lot of crazy or manipulative or devious people. And I think that it is a natural subject of curiosity. Why would I not find it interesting or curious or want to talk about it that Eve Barlow, Amber Heard's best friend and main defender, has lost her mind and is putting all of this ludicrous stuff on Instagram? It's funny, it's interesting, it's indicative of something. So I do not think that if I stop talking about Amber Heard and Eve Barlow, they're going to go away. In fact, if I stop talking about them, it's going to have absolutely no effect whatsoever on them or their ability to reach out to the public or to get press coverage. So I just don't feel like I'm doing any harm to anyone by talking about them or laughing at them. I mean, I'm laughing at them. It's like I'm attacking them, basically. I mean, I am. Why can't so I guess I would return the question to you and say, why do you have a problem with me attacking Eve Barlow and Amber Heard? Are you a fan of theirs? It's wrong of you to say we can't point out their flaws. What are you doing? Are you trying to carry water for them, telling me that I can't point out how messed up they are? So anyway, I'm sorry. It's just a pet peeve of mine. I'm just, and that's not to say I'm not, they can continue to criticize. I generally do not block people. what happened with this one person that I blocked this week on Twitter, and I don't even remember who it was now. What happened is, and I've explained this before, is that I am constantly, and I understand that having a YouTube channel, I'm asking for it, and so I'm not whining, but I am constantly getting criticized by people, tons of people, for about everything that you can think of. And 99% of the time, I am able to let it roll off, and it does not individually, these things have no effect, but cumulatively it's like Chinese water torture. And what happens is eventually someone, this irritation will build up, and then someone will be the unlucky person to set it off. And so this week, that person who was whining about me saying something about Eve Barlow or Amber Heard on Twitter, they were that final person to sort of pop the bubble and set me off, and so then I called them an idiot and I blocked them. And it wasn't a mature move. It probably wasn't the best move, but sometimes it happens, and I just don't know how to stay in this environment or in this arena where I'm constantly taking criticism without occasionally it gets to me and I tell people to fuck off, basically. I mean, in a manner of speaking. So I understand other people don't like it when some of us talk about Amber and Eve, but I mean, I see Tug doing it. Are you getting on Tug's case? Does Tug have people whining to him about how he talks? I mean, supporters whining about how he should stop talking about Amber Heard and Eve Barlow, because he talks about them constantly. Or is it just when like lesser known people do it? Then I can't do it, but Tug can. So I don't know. I'm not attacking Tug or anything. I love Tug, and you'll know that. But I'm just saying, like, it does seem like, speaking of double standards, there's a little bit of a double standard in that people celebrate Tug, and he constantly talks about Amber, but I talk about her a little. I have been talking about Johnny Depp this week. If you look at my YouTube channel, I've not done one video on Amber Heard. It's all been Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp's press conference, the best of Johnny Depp at Cannes, see Johnny Depp arriving on the red carpet, shut the fuck up about Johnny Depp's teeth, all of that stuff. And so it has basically been all Johnny Depp. But there is still like this person out here called Amber Heard and her simp Eve Barlow, who they do have a platform and they're talking and they're getting coverage. And so to just kind of ignore that, and Johnny Depp, he's still having to take heat from the press. It's not like the press has let him go on. Like, he's still, as I said, in one of my videos, he's still taking the same questions, and he's still answering them. So, I guess I'll keep talking about it, and Johnny Depp will keep talking about it, and we'll all keep talking about it. But anyway, that's my complaint there. That's a sort of irritation there. But anyway, so I wanted to talk a bit. I'm going to get back to the Johnny Depp thing. I wanted to talk a little bit more about Manson because, he got a really rough hit, as Celtic said. He got a really rough hit with the court ruling. And for those who don't follow, what was it, like a week or so ago, the judge in Manson's defamation case, and it's not just a defamation case, and now it's not really even a defamation case anymore because the judge cut out the defamation part. But it was a defamation case, and also he's suing Evan and her co-conspirator Ilma Gore for hacking and computer fraud and infliction of emotional distress and swatting and impersonation. And also apparently they were trying to send child porn to people using his email to try to make it look like he was this pervy guy sending CP to people. So, I mean, we're talking about some really messed up stuff. Anyway, there was a hearing, an anti-SLAPP hearing last week. Was it last week? Where the judge basically gutted a lot of Manson's lawsuit, mostly the defamation part, and have now, is now basically removed the FBI letter that Evan Rachel Wood and Ilma Gore forged so that Evan Rachel Wood could get the upper hand in her custody dispute with Jamie Bell. Well, the judge in Manson's case has cut all of that out, and so the defamation part is gone. The only stuff that's remaining now in Manson's lawsuit, and it's still bad stuff, computer hacking and impersonation and infliction of emotional distress and the swatting and stuff like that. But the defamation part is gone. Why is it gone? Because California has this ridiculous anti-SLAPP law. It has the worst or the strongest anti-SLAPP laws in the nation. I had Andrea on here the other day, was talking about just how ridiculous these California laws are. And basically, what these anti-SLAPP laws come down to is that if you are a famous person, particularly if you're a famous person, you basically cannot sue anyone for lying about you if they lied about you, if their lies were that you assaulted them. And so if I move to California and I decide to claim that Robert De Niro assaulted me, and it's completely BS and it's completely made up. And in fact, Robert De Niro can even prove that I engaged in a complex, multifaceted hoax to defame him and tried to ruin his life and got all these other people involved and got a 2-part documentary on HBO, like all this stuff. And I recruited other people to lie about Robert De Niro and everything. Basically, I can get away with that scot-free. Robert De Niro cannot do anything because California says, basically, California's attitude is women do not lie about abuse and accusers do not lie about abuse. And so we don't want, particularly when it comes to talking about famous people, we do not want people who are lied about, particularly famous people, to be able to sue those who are lying about them. And so it is basically, as I understand it, and Andrea Burkhart, the lawyer, confirmed this, it is basically more or less impossible if you are a famous person in California to sue someone for defamation, no matter what they've done or said. Basically impossible. Now, of course, depending on the judge you could have a judge that was friendlier to Manson's position or was less strict about their interpretation of the anti-SLAPP laws. But basically, if you're in California, you're screwed. And that's why Johnny Depp, that's why his big lawsuit against Amber Heard, it took place in Virginia. That was one of the reasons, is because they felt like the anti-SLAPP laws and the ways that they're interpreted are much more lenient in Virginia. And so they thought that they could get a fairer hearing, and they did. But unfortunately, Marilyn Manson, Brian Warner, finds himself in a position where, Evan Rachel Wood, she didn't write an op-ed in the Washington Post. And so he can't sue her in Virginia. Pretty much all of Evan Rachel Wood's defamatory conduct took place in California and New York. And guess which 2 states have the absolute worst, most restrictive, most unfair anti-SLAPP laws? California and New York. So Manson is now left in a situation where he's had, I would guess, probably 60% of his lawsuit removed, including the defamation part. Now, he can still continue with his lawsuit, and he currently is. I don't know if that will be the case. I don't know if he'll end up dropping it. But he can continue with his lawsuit. It's just greatly pared down. And the problem is that what Manson was trying to do in that lawsuit, he was trying to use his lawsuit as a forum, just like Johnny Depp, for exposing the hoax against him. But now that the defamation part has been taken out, the hoax thing really isn't very relevant anymore. And so he could continue, and he might continue with the lawsuit and show that Evan Rachel Wood and Ilma Gore did some bad shit to him. But he's not going to, as I understand it, the judge is not going to let him lay out the full case for how he was defamed and that he was the victim of a hoax and all of that. So I don't know. I've missed a couple of super chats. Let me back up here. Missy Jade, so good to see you. You said, rushing to work. Thank you for your vids on JD. How many ways can you ask the same question? Also, talking about JD's teeth is disgraceful. Pieces of trash. Love the chat. Thank you. Thank you so much, Missy Jade. One of my best supporters. I really appreciate you. I also missed a super chat way back up here. Let me find it. Here we go. Wolf Kinder sent you an email about JD mashed potatoes quote. Okay. The mashed potatoes thing was so funny. People say about Johnny Depp, this was one of the things that irritated me most about the media coverage this week, was that people were saying that they could not understand what Johnny Depp was talking about in that press conference. They said that it was long. These are these media harpies. They said that it was long and it was rambling, and you didn't know what the hell Johnny Depp was talking about. Well, I knew what he was talking about the whole time. I was never lost at any point. And I think they're just being intentionally obtuse to act like he's just like this crazy guy who's just rambling. Okay, Grandpa, we don't know what you're talking about. It made sense to me, but I love the way that Johnny Depp, he speaks in a very in a very, I know it's slow, it rolls out very slow, but it's a very literate form of expression. And so when he was talking about the people, his nameless, faceless critics behind their computers, and he talked about how they're sort of buried behind, what did he say? Some species of mashed potatoes. I thought that was pretty funny. But anyway, so yeah, it's basically like, Johnny Depp, where the media are concerned, he can't do anything right. So, if he laughs, then he's being trivial and condescending, and look at that, as of course men, they can get away with just laughing at everything. Oh yeah, it's a big joke, huh? Big joke abuser. So if he laughs, gets in trouble for that. If he's serious, he gets in trouble for that. Johnny Depp, he seemed very pensive. He seemed very serious. I think that things are finally getting to him. If he opens his mouth, it's like, oh my god, look at those teeth. Yeah, like what? Will we not expect a man who's almost 60 years old and has been smoking cigarettes his entire life and drinking red wine? It's like he's not going to have some discoloration. Johnny Depp, to his credit, he's laughed about having a lot of cavities before, but and somebody pointed out, Amber Heard has really nice teeth that Johnny Depp probably paid for. I don't know if we know that for sure or not. Did Johnny Depp pay for her to get veneers? But I'm sure there's a lot of stuff Johnny Depp paid for, and plastic surgery. Who knows that he's paid for Amber Heard? But anyway, and so I wanted to talk about something though right now that I have not talked about yet, and partly because it's a little bit controversial for the woman who directed Johnny Depp's film My Win. But I think that this is a really interesting woman, and this is a woman who has seen through the BS that is Me Too, apparently. And part of that, I think, does have to do with the fact that she does have a controversial relationship in her own background. And I did not want to do a video on this because I didn't want to call attention to it because it is controversial. And so, I didn't want to do like a My Win video and tell everybody about her relationship history, since it will be in some people's minds kind of sketchy when I explain it in a moment. But I thought, tuck it into a live stream, and it'll be interesting because it gives us, I think, some insight into her perspective on Me Too and gender relations, and also why she, I think, was one of the reasons why she was so brave in asking Johnny Depp to be in her film when he was really, this was before the defamation trial, when he was sort of at the height of his disrepute. So let me give you a picture here to show you, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about this woman and about a little bit of controversy in her background, and also why she assaulted that, quote unquote, assaulted that journalist, which she's admitted to. All right, one second. Got a lot of pictures here of her. I was trying to pick which one. Okay. So her name is it's My Win Lebesco, and she goes by My Win now. Oops. I see you can't see it. Just a second. All right. Okay. So this is the director of Johnny Depp's latest film. This is the woman who had the guts to hire him when he was at the height of his disrepute, and she's directed other movies. She's a famous French actress, but she's moved into directing. Well, so she, how do I want to put this? Okay, so some time ago, several months ago or so, she was eating dinner in a French restaurant. And she noticed that there was a journalist also eating dinner in the same restaurant. And this journalist, I forget his name at the moment, but this journalist it was a journalist, and also he was the editor or the owner of a news site or a news source. Okay, and so anyway, his paper or his news organization had been posting a number of stories on My Win and on My Win's ex-husband and the father of her child, a famous director, the father of one of her children, I should say, a famous director named Luc Besson. Now, if that name sounds familiar outside of this context, it might be because he is one of the most famous French directors in the world. He directed The Fifth Element. He directed The Professional. He directed La Femme Nikita. He directed, I think, that Valerian movie. He directed The Messenger about Joan of Arc and some other stuff. So very, very famous director. Well, this is where things get a little bit thorny, and this was the thing that I didn't want to obviously make a video about because I don't want to call big attention to it. But he and my Win officially started dating when she was 15. Although, frankly, if you look deeper into the story and you look at some things that my Win herself said in the past, it's likely, I don't want to make any accusations about definitive ages, but it's likely that their relationship started before 15. They married, but they say they officially started dating at 15, and she had his child at 16. They married. Now, before everybody, a decade ago or whatever, before everybody was all in a huff about underage stuff and Me Too and all of that, my Win had given an interview some time ago in which she talked about Luc Besson's movie The Professional. You may have seen it. Natalie Portman is in it. In fact, it was Natalie Portman's first big role. Natalie Portman was 12 in that movie, and it's a movie about a hitman who befriends this girl played by Natalie Portman, and they form this really strong friendship, and he defends her against some bad guys who want to do something bad to her for reasons I won't go into. Well, there is some subtext in that film that you could make the claim that there's some pedophilic subtext in the film, where Natalie Portman, the 12-year-old Natalie Portman tries to seduce the older guy that she befriends. She wears very sexy clothing. She sings like a virgin. She asks him to take her virginity and stuff. I'm not saying that's right or whatever, right? I'm not going to get into all this right now, but I'm just saying that's in the film. Well, my Win back a long time ago, years ago, before people were as prickly as they are now about sexuality and Me Too and stuff like that, my Win said in this interview that the Natalie Portman relationship with this guy in The Professional, that it was based on her relationship with Luc Besson. She met Luc Besson when she was 12 years old, and she's indicated this in interviews, she fell in love with him when she was 12, and she was the one who was the aggressor and initiated the relationship whenever it did initiate. And she said that the kind of romantic theme that we see in The Professional was based on her relationship with Luc Besson. Now, I'm not saying that anything happened between them before she was 15, right? 15 is the age that everyone's saying officially that they started something romantic. But I'm not an idiot, and I would take her comments to mean that even if nothing physical happened, that there was something going on earlier than that. I'm not saying it's right or whatever, okay? I don't even want to get into that thorny thing. You can feel how you want to feel and discuss it among yourselves. I don't care. But here's the thing I'm getting at. My Win evidently does not think that there's anything wrong with her relationship history. And she evidently does not think that there's anything wrong with whatever went on between her and Luc Besson in terms of the way that their relationship progressed. And she's even said before that she was thrilled to have her first child at 16 because she always wanted to be a mother, and a young mother. And she was so thrilled that she could get that out of the way earlier. She could do that early. And she at one point, apparently, she even thought about writing a book about her life with Luc Besson, because she said that it was such an amazing experience to be so young, but to be traveling in the circles that he was in, because he was a major director. And she was an aspiring actress, but kind of a nobody. And so suddenly, through dating this guy, or being friends with this guy and then dating him, or whatever happened, she was now in she was hobnobbing with major Hollywood stars, and she was going to the finest restaurants, and she was getting to do all these awesome things. And also it gave her a big start in the industry. You could argue that if she had never dated Luc Besson, she might not be working with Johnny Depp and at Cannes, right? I mean, that's the way things go, right? And so my point is, I'm not trying to say that her relationship with him was appropriate or inappropriate or whatever. I don't want to get into that, all right? Especially because people start flipping out. But what I want to say is, she certainly does not think that there's anything wrong with her relationship with him. So how does this connect to the photographer? to the journalist that she quote unquote assaulted. Well, this journalist, because of Me Too, this journalist and the magazine that he owns, or the news outlet that he runs, they had been doing these regular pieces attacking Luc Besson, and Luc Besson was accused of assault by a couple of women in France, and he ended up being cleared of those charges. He was cleared, or the charges were dropped, or whatever. But apparently, this news outlet and this particular person that my win was pissed at, they were just continually attacking Besson. And one of the things that they did apparently is they got a hold of some police reports about my win. So the French police, when this guy was accused of assaulting someone else, the French police went to my win, or had her come in, and they interviewed her because they wanted to know, okay, what's this guy like? I mean, you have this history with this guy. You were married to him. He was the father of your child and all of that. So, did he ever assault you? And what's he like? And so they interviewed her, and apparently this news outlet and this journalist or this editor or whatever, actually took details from her interview and publicized them. And it wasn't anything, as I understand it, that was particularly incriminating or whatever, but they put it in there. And apparently my win did not appreciate her personal interviews with the police, her private interviews details from those being publicized. And apparently she doesn't appreciate the father of her child and a man that she still has great affection for, and who she believed she had a very healthy relationship and positive relationship with. She doesn't like the fact that he is being criticized and attacked in the French media, particularly by this one outlet. Now, right or wrong, again, I don't know, but apparently she was eating dinner in a French restaurant, and she saw this journalist or this editor, this news guy there, who she felt like had been persecuting her baby daddy and this man that she cared for, and also had been persecuting her in a way. And so she goes up to him on her way out, and apparently she grabs him by the hair and she spits in his face. I'm not saying that's okay or whatever. I do think that our definition of assault has kind of gotten a little ridiculous. I'm not saying it's okay to spit in people's faces. It's not. But now this woman, the way that it's getting publicized, you would think that she went up to him and punched him in the face or whatever. But I get it. People don't want people spitting on them. You can get, I suppose you can get some rabies or whatever. So anyway, the point is she got charged with assault. And so that's what's been going on. Now, this guy that she quote unquote assaulted, and she's admitted to it, by the way. She did an interview, what was it, last week? I think it was French media, in which she said that she didn't want to talk about it. She didn't want to distract from the film, but she admitted that she had done it. Anyway, apparently this guy gave an interview to the Daily Beast, and I believe it was the Daily Beast, or maybe it was Variety. It was either Variety or the Daily Beast. It was a major American news outlet. He gave an interview that came out this last week, in which he criticized my win, not just for the obvious, for assaulting him in a restaurant, but he criticized her for being anti-Me Too. And he said that she's very strongly anti-Me Too. And she got a lot of shit, in some quarters of the media, the American media, for not being a good Me Too ally. In fact, I read on my channel in one of my videos this week, I read a negative review of Jean Dubarry. And by the way, man, these journalists, they really love trashing that film, don't they? I mean, I just don't believe that it's a bad movie, y'all. They can say until they're blue in the face that they think it's a bad movie. I don't think it's a bad movie because I've seen My Win's other movies, all right? I was a fan of My Win even before she was a thing here in America, even before anyone knew of her. I was a fan way back when she was doing Policey and some of those movies. I was a fan way back to the horror film High Tension. If you've seen that horror film, that French horror film, My Win is one of the major actresses in that. So anyway, I do not believe that it's a bad movie, that Jean Dubarry is a shitty movie. I absolutely do not believe it. And one reason I don't believe it is because every negative review that I've read about that film, they say stupid shit. They have the dumbest, most ridiculous critiques of that film. For instance, there was one critique that said that Johnny Depp sits around a lot looking louche and he sits around looking well powdered, like a powdered wig. He looks well powdered, louche. Louche means kind of like sort of like bored and kind of lazy, and also very debauched. I've had too much sex, I've eaten too much or whatever, just kind of like aristocrat. I'm very louche, right? He sits around apparently looking well powdered, louche, and bored. That was their critique. Well, hello. He was playing the role of Louis XV. And if you'd like to open up a history book and actually read a little about the guy, do you know how I would describe him? I would describe him as well powdered, louche, and bored. That's his character. He's the king. He's bored with his life. He's over it. He's in his later years, and that's why they had the affair in the first place. That's why Jean de Berry was able to seduce him, is because he was so bored with all of this shit, and he was looking for something kind of spicy and different. And that was her. So to criticize Johnny Depp's performance because you say that it basically he's too closely resembling the person that he's trying to portray, do you realize that's not an insult? Do you realize that what you've just said is that he did an excellent job portraying the man that he was supposed to portray? So, like, these kinds of comments are so ridiculous. But I noticed that my win is getting a lot of shit in some of these reviews and some of these articles for not being a good Me Too ally. And they actually use this word allyship. In fact, one review said that her film was particularly problematic in view of my win's questionable allyship. Give me a break. If you use that word, you are a loser. Okay. I said this in my video earlier. I hope to God that I'm never the type of loser who's going to criticize someone for their allyship. Anyway, and my win apparently was quoted some time ago as she made a derogatory comment about Me Too. She said that, oh yeah, women complain. Oh, he looked at my bottom. And what I tell them is, well, you better enjoy it because one day he won't be looking at your bottom. One day the men aren't going to be looking at you. And I have to say that this is actually something that more women should keep in mind. Because look, ladies, and men as well, but men, you understand this already, I think, and hopefully a lot of you women do as well. If you want any sexual attention from any man, okay, that is to say, if you ever want to date someone, or you want to have a boyfriend, or you want to have a husband, you want them to look at your ass in a nice way. Because if they're not looking at in a sexual way, because if they're not looking at your ass in a sexual way, then they're not your boyfriend or your husband, or they're tired of you. And you don't want that, because if they're tired of you, they're going to be looking at someone else's ass. And guess what? I'm going to really shock some people here. I look at my guy's ass all the time. I think he has one of the best asses that I've ever seen on a guy. I'm serious. I think the guy that I'm with has one of the best bodies that I've ever seen on a man. He's not like some super stacked like Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever. He's not like some super stacked Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever, but I think he has the best body that I've ever seen. And I tell you, every single day, multiple times a day, I look at him and I think, what a hot body. How is that different from what these women are complaining about? These Me Too activists who say, don't objectify someone or whatever. And I think that women who get unduly offended by sexual attention, I'm not talking about assault. I'm not talking about a guy putting his hands on you when he shouldn't or anything like that, or saying lascivious things to you, that are inappropriate in the workplace. But I'm just saying, like, how do I want to put this? I don't think that some women understand that if you want the positive aspects of sexuality in your life, you're going to have to deal with the negative aspects as well at times. I don't love getting catcalled. I got catcalled earlier. I live in kind of a rough neighborhood, and it's one of these that's kind of getting gentrified or whatever. Oh my God, I use the gentrified word. Oh, but it's because it's so evil for people to come into a shitty neighborhood and try to make it better. Oh, that's just terrible. But anyway, I live in a neighborhood that's kind of rough, and I like to take walks a lot. And people, I don't know how to put it, but people aren't used to seeing someone like me walking around the neighborhood. I get a lot of comments, I get cat calls, I get a lot of attention I don't like. But you know what? The flip side of that is that you cannot have the positive attention without some of the negative. If I want my boyfriend or my guy to be looking at my ass, then I have to accept that sometimes other men are going to be looking at my ass too. That's how it works. Okay? For every positive thing in life, there is a negative. And there are some people in this world who have become so kind of childish and ridiculous about sexuality that they think that they can only have sexuality, any expression of sexuality, on their terms. Absolutely. And that's not the truth. Yes, no one should ever force you to have sex. No one should ever have to force you to do any sexual act. No one should force you to do that. No one should touch you if you don't want it, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? But there's a limit, guys, ladies. And one day, it is very true, one day, a lot of the women who are complaining about the sexual attention they're getting, one day when they're no longer getting it, they're gonna be complaining then too. Maybe not verbally, but to themselves. There is a movie that I really love that came out, oh god, maybe 15 years ago. It's called Notes on a Scandal, and it's starring Kate Blanchett and Judi Dench. And the movie is about it's a fictional movie. It's about a teacher who has sex with her underage student. Speaking of, right? It's there's one that kind of flips the script. But that's not the point. The point is there's a subplot in this movie where you have this older woman played by Judi Dench who is so sexually frustrated because she's an older woman and nobody wants her, right? And I'm not saying that's the case, and that has to be the case anyway, but for whatever reason in the film, nobody wants her and she's sexually frustrated. And so she develops this sexual fixation on this teacher and ends up getting this teacher in trouble for having sex with her student. She reports her. But anyway, it's a good movie. It's interesting. But there's this scene in the film where Judi Dench is taking a bath, her character, and she's kind of running her hands sort of, over her skin. She's bathing and she's talking about how she is so, because of her age and because of just the way that people don't perceive her as a sex object anymore, that she is so starved for sexuality and so starved for a touch that even a visit to the gynecologist excites her. And I remember when I saw that film, it sent a sort of a shiver down my spine. I think I was 25 or 26 years old when I saw that film. It sent a shiver down my spine because I thought that's gonna be me one day. It's gonna be all of us one day. Now, is it gonna be me at 50? I hope not. Is it gonna be me at 60? I hope not, but it's gonna be me eventually. One day I will reach a point where the idea, where a man will look at me and he will think that the idea of touching me is fucking disgusting. And by the way, I get it. That is not a day I look forward to. It is a day that I would like to push as far into my future as possible. But what some people don't realize is that that day is coming. And so maybe instead of getting so offended by people asking you out or catcalling you or whatever, maybe you should think, you know what? This is just the price that I have to pay for all of the positive sexual attention that I do want, or the positive romantic attention that I do want. And quite frankly, I think that one of the problems with our society is that we are, yes, exactly, AJ, one day, but not any day soon. No, but I think one of the problems with our society is that we have a lot of children now who are, I don't know, were coddled a lot growing up, or they've grown up in a society of ease and a society of plenty, and they just think that everything has to be on their terms. And so they want sexual attention when they want it, not when they don't want it. They want men to look at them when they want it, not when they don't want it. They want men to ask them out when they want it, not when they don't want it. And that's just not the way it works. That's not the way it works. And that's what my win was trying to say. And so she's been getting all kinds of shit about this. And so I really admire her because I have come to see now, at first when I found out that she had hired Johnny Depp for this role, I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. But now I see that this was actually she was really trying to make a point and trying to make a statement. And I think what happened, I don't think that My Win hired Johnny Depp for the role because of all the people she could think of. Johnny Depp was the one that was just the best for it. I mean, there's no offense to him or his acting or anything, but I mean, I don't think that's why. I think that I think that she hates Me Too. She hates what all of this sexual puritanism and this sexual panic has done to our society and to the relationships between the sexes. And I think she saw that here's a guy, Johnny Depp, who is a victim of that and a victim of Me Too and a victim of false accusations weaponized by a woman taking advantage of Me Too. And My Win looked at that and she said, I'm going to do something to try to help. And also, it was very shrewd because it gave tremendous attention and box office appeal to her film. And frankly, if Johnny Depp, I'm sure the film is very good, but I don't think that I think that if Johnny Depp were not in the film, it would not have opened Cannes Film Festival and it would not be getting all the press that it's getting now. So it was a very shrewd thing to do. And it just shows that this is a woman who's very intelligent and knows what she's doing in many ways. But I do think it's interesting now, knowing her history as I do, to understand that what she's done with Depp and putting Depp in her movie, that it was an extension of a much sort of deeper philosophy and perspective on her part about Me Too and about the damage that Me Too has done to our society. And I'm not saying that Me Too is wholly bad or completely bad, or that there weren't problematic people, Weinstein and others, and problematic things going on in the industry or whatever that didn't need to be addressed. But I do think that Me Too has and kind of the sexual puritanism that is taking root in our country, that's only directed at men, because women are still allowed to do whatever they want, right? Um, I do think that it's unfortunate, and it is interesting now that things seem to, and I've talked about this before, but things seem to have shifted to where the double standard for sexuality is now on the men. It used to be that the double standard was in favor of men and against women. But now it seems like women can do whatever they want, and men are responsible, like 100% of responsibility for a sexual encounter is now on the man. If you're a man, it's not enough to know that the woman is consenting, or to read her consent by how she's breathing or she's touching or how she's responding or whatever. No, you need explicit. You need like her to sign a fucking document. I give you consent to touch my ass. And so men, but not just that, because also apparently what we're being told now is that it's hard for women to express what they want. And so sometimes a woman's not going to say no. Sometimes she might even be acting like she wants it, but you, the man, you're supposed to mind read, and you're supposed to detect that she is not exhibiting the full range of enthusiasm that a woman who's really into it should be. And so you're supposed to be like constantly monitoring. So like the entire sexual encounter, don't enjoy it, men. You should be constantly monitoring for any signs that things are about to go awry. Okay, I'm going to touch her here. Let's see. Seem to be like, I don't know. Is she on board with this? Isn't she? Let's see. Okay, I'm gauging. Is she going to file a lawsuit against me? Is she going to file charges again? No. I feel like it's gotten that ridiculous. And that's not to say that there aren't a lot of rapists and predators out there either. I've talked about this before, but a couple of weeks ago, my guy who loves history podcasts, he was listening to a history podcast about the end of World War II in Berlin and what it was like when the Russians invaded Berlin at the end of the war. And let me tell you, it was a lot of rape. It was a lot of horrible rape. Horrible. And we ain't talking about a situation where the woman just kind of couldn't say no and just sort of went along with it. And so, the guy didn't really know what was happening, didn't really know. We're not talking about a situation where a woman got drunk and had sex and then regretted it later. We're talking about a situation of multiple men holding people down and gang raping them over and over and over. And I'm sorry if this is disturbing for people, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show you that real rape, real assault, it does happen, and it is horrible when it does. But these people who make accusations, false accusations, or accusations that are based on bullshit, they are trivializing real assault, because it's much harder now for people to take the real thing seriously because the waters have been so muddied. And most of the stuff, for instance, that's being adjudicated in our colleges, for instance, if I've said this before, but if you look, most sexual assault allegations that are adjudicated on college campuses are a matter of two people getting blasted, wasted out of their minds, and disagreeing the next day on what happened. And the woman not even generally being able to remember what happened, but just assuming, well, I think I couldn't have consented to that. That's a lot of that. It's a lot of that. That ain't nothing like the shit that was being done to those poor German women by those Russians in Berlin. So I think that part of what's going on in our society too is that some people don't actually know what real rape is. I know that sounds ridiculous, but some people don't know what real rape is. And so we've gotten to the situation now where we're in this sort of murky gray zone, with consent and people think that we're in post-World War II Berlin, and we aren't. We aren't. All right, Linda Beck, my Win and JD appeared to have a lot of chemistry at con. I'm glad you brought that up. They did, and I'm glad you brought that up because there have been a number of stories about tension between them. They were having tension on the set because JD was late. And really, all of these stories emanated from one French guy. There was this one French guy who went on a French TV show and said that he had heard from some sources that Johnny Depp was habitually late and that My Win was losing her mind over it, and they were having these dramatic screaming fights on set and stuff like that. What My Win says, well, we had one dispute about, because I went and kind of abrasively knocked on his door to get him to come out, and he didn't like that. He said that wasn't, the right protocol or whatever. So we had this kind of little difference. Look, Johnny Depp has definitely been late to sets before. I'm not going to deny that. And so it could be that he was late. It could be that they had some tension, but there's no way in hell that I believe that they had this horrible on-set relationship and they were screaming at each other and My Win was regretting that she hired Depp and all of that. There's no way in hell. I don't believe any of that. And I could see, as well as you, I could see that there was chemistry between them. And so, I mean, chemistry in their interviews and stuff. One of the videos that I put together this week was a montage of Johnny Depp's best moments or most interesting moments at Cannes. And so it was just a short, like, I don't know, like 10, 15-minute film with, I looked at all the cover, all the footage, and then I spliced up what I thought were some of the best parts. But there was an interview that My Win and Johnny Depp did with the BBC. I'm sure some of you have seen some of this, but he did an impersonation of his old friend Marlon Brando. And when he started doing the impersonation, My Win started like burst out laughing, right? Like she, couldn't contain herself and was like, this full toothy grin. She covers her mouth and she's still giggling and stuff. Like, that's just not how you are if you can't stand somebody, and if this guy's put you through hell on your movie set. This is not how it is. And I'll say one more thing to you about that. My Win is a big girl. She's a big girl. She's a woman, and she's an accomplished woman. And she's a woman who's, been in the world. And I think that she can handle whatever Johnny Depp did do on that set that was maybe problematic in terms of lateness or whatever. I think she could handle it. Okay. I don't think that this is a woman who is, oh my God, she made this big mistake. She was so nice. She invited Johnny Depp into her movie and he just blew it up. No, I don't think that's what's happening. And I'll say this too, that even if Johnny Depp were late every single day of that film shoot, it would still be worth it to My Win for all the press coverage that she's getting now and to be headlining Cannes Film Festival. She's never done that before. Ain't no way that would have happened without Johnny Depp. Okay. So look, just like I said earlier, if you want the positive sexual attention, you got to deal with the negative sexual attention. Well, if you want Johnny Depp, megawatt star power, opening Cannes Film Festival, overshadowing the entire event, it's all anyone can talk about, and suddenly everyone's talking about My Win, director, My Win. If you want that, then guess what? Maybe you have to put up with Johnny Depp being a little late to set. I'm sure she knew that. I'm sure she knew his reputation. Okay? I mean, fuck, people have been complaining about him for years now, being late on set. I'm not saying he is or not, but I'm saying that's the complaint. So you think she didn't know? You think she thought, well, here's this guy who has this reputation and people say he's always late to set. And oh my God, like the latest Pirates of the Caribbean, and like barely got off the ground because they were having to send people to stake out his home in Australia to see if he might be up. I mean, I thought that was kind of stupid too. She knew all that. And she wanted him for her film. So she's a big girl. She knew what she was getting into, and it's paying off in a big way for her. So don't cry any tears for My Win and whatever you think Johnny Depp put her through on that set, because probably wasn't much. And whatever it was, she has been more than repaid by all of the incredible press attention that he's gotten for her and for her film and all of that. All right. Somebody asked on here, by the way, if I'm going to upload this. Yeah, I always keep the uploads on YouTube. The only reason why the live stream marathon was not re-uploaded is because YouTube will not allow an upload that long, and StreamYard ended up cutting my 24 hours down to 19. I don't know. I guess there's some technical glitch or maybe something I'm doing wrong. I guess next time I try to do a 24-hour live stream, I need to figure out some way to get it together better so I'm not having these technical issues. But that's why. And so right now, the live stream, 19 hours of that live stream, it's up on my Patreon for my patrons. And if you want to join my Patreon, $3, the link is below. But I am going to be making it public in another few weeks. But I wanted to make that available for my patrons. But anyway, this live stream, this will stay up unless for some reason YouTube yanks it. It shouldn't. So, if you go to my YouTube page, the lives are on a different tab. than the regular videos. And so you actually have to click on the live. And so there's a bunch of live streams up from the past that are on there, and this one will be up too. Good night. I see someone saying good night. Chunky Monkey. You must be are you in Europe, I guess? Yeah. Jolie says, I've never heard a radio broadcast from Berlin reporting on rape by Russian forces in 1985. Oh, no, this is like, yeah, there was a lot of rapes post World War II when the Russians came in. That's not even like, I mean, I'm not trying to be condescending, but like that's not even like something. That's one of those things that's not even debatable. So I'm not sure maybe they're not broadcasting about rapes on the radio in Berlin. Maybe because when the Soviets came through, they didn't want them broadcasting. I mean, that's what happens, right? When I'm not trying to be condescending, but like when your country is taken over by another country, then you lose the right to say what you want on the radio. And so I'm pretty sure that when the Russians and then when the Americans came into Germany, I'm pretty sure that they weren't wanting the Germans to be publicizing how many rapes were occurring. But yeah, this is very well known historical fact. I mean, it's as well established as D-Day that there were tons of rapes going on. You know, people get when people go to war, you are unleashing the dark side. And when you unleash the dark side, you can't always package it back up, or you can't always control how that dark side is going to be unleashed. And so that is why rape occurs not in wars. Now, the Americans were doing much less of that than the Russians, much less, for reasons I don't have time to get into or whatever. Maybe sometime I'll do a history podcast. But yeah, but no, there was, in fact, this thing that I just listened to, this audiobook, like I said, with my guy. It was a history book about the war, and there was a whole chapter devoted to it. It was just one thing after another of witnesses describing this and this and this and all. It's very well documented. And anyway, so, but yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, there was a lot of that and I don't know how long it lasted. You know, maybe it was a month, 2 months, or whatever. But when the Russians came in, it was not a good time for the women of Germany. And of course, then also the economy was so bad. A lot of women were also having to prostitute themselves because, I mean, Germany was just there were major cities in Germany that were just destroyed in the war, and economies and everything. So you had a lot of prostitution going on too. But no, a lot of assaults. So anyway, Anna Costello says rape always part of warfare. Yeah, rape of Nanking. Yeah. Okay, someone says a witness in Virginia trial says JD has late arrivals built into his contracts. Not sure. Yeah, I don't know. And look again, like, how do I want to say this? When you reach a particular status in life, then you can behave in a particular way. Like that's also the other thing is like that I was trying to say with the my win thing is like, if Johnny Depp were late, it's not like he's not bringing something to the table. You know, it'd be one thing if this were just some insignificant person who's holding up the set and everybody's like, okay, we're waiting for the lighting guy. You're fired. Because guess what? You can replace the lighting guy or whatever. But there is one Johnny Depp, and there is a reason why my win wanted Johnny Depp and not a bunch of other actors that she could have hired. And so I'm not saying that it's okay to be late. And of course, it's annoying and I wouldn't like it. And I think, probably it would be better for Johnny Depp if he would try to work on that aspect of his personality. And I'm sure he is. But at the same time, like if you are bringing as much star power and as much attention and publicity and enthusiasm to the table to a film as Johnny Depp is, I mean, just think of all of the publicity this thing is getting that it wouldn't be getting otherwise. Think of all of the Depp heads and the Johnny Depp fans and the Johnny Depp supporters who are going to see this film, who may see it again and again, who are going to be talking about it from now until, I don't know when, award season or whatever. That's just priceless. It's kind of like that MasterCard commercial, or was it Visa, right? Where they say, this is nice, but this, priceless. Well, having Johnny Depp in your film, priceless, especially your little obscure French film that probably no one's going to watch unless he's in it. Priceless. So it's worth it if he was late. If he was late every day, it's worth it, in my opinion. Maybe we should talk about history sometime. People are commenting on it. I love history, and I've taught history in college before. My degree is not in history, but I've taught film classes, history on film, and so what I love to do in some of my film classes, I would give it a history theme, history of the world. And so what we did is we looked at the whole class, that whole semester was looking at different films about history. And of course, we know there are a lot of historical films that are not perfectly accurate. So sometimes what I would do is I would take the students through the film and I would say, now this is accurate and this isn't, or whatever. But it's a great way to learn history because look, we remember films, we don't remember lectures. I can tell you very few things that my professors said in college. Yeah, there's some things that stand out, some favorite professors, some things that really stuck in here, or some stuff that really meant that I internalized that meant a lot to me. I can remember a few of those things. I can remember, though, so many films and so many scenes from films that I saw in college, that I saw in high school, that I saw in middle school, that I saw in elementary school, that I saw when I was 7 years old. I can remember scenes, I can remember lines. And so, frankly, most of what I remember from my college years is tied to movies that I watched or movies that the professor showed in class or whatever. So it's really powerful in a class to teach history to students using film, even when there are inaccuracies, you can point them out because you know that that stuff is going to actually lodge in their head. And one day, 20, 30 years from now, when they don't remember your lecture on, the 1917 Bolshevik Revolution, well, they'll remember that I had them watch The Hunt for Red October and we talked about the history of communist Russia, Soviet Russia. They remember that, right? And so anyway, I really like teaching history on film, and so maybe that would be something kind of interesting to do. It won't get the views, right? Because it's not talking about the YouTube stuff, right? Anything that's not celebrity and not true crime or whatever, anything that's not hot button stuff, right? It just doesn't get the views. But it would be interesting, perhaps, for me to look at some films and historical films and talk about the real history. The real history behind them. Sorry, it's hot in here. Would y'all believe that my air conditioner is still not working? We are in Texas and it is getting into the summer and we have not had a functioning air conditioning system for 3 weeks. Now, there is a reason for it. The reason is we have these fancy the guy who had this house or built this house before us, he decided to put in these really fancy energy efficient um I don't know what you call them. They're not like window outlets. It's something on the wall. But anyway, they're like fancy and energy efficient or whatever, right? Well, guess what? They don't fucking work either. Like so many things that are fancy and energy efficient. They don't fucking work, or at least they have not worked for the last 3 weeks. And they really haven't worked since we moved in here, frankly. But it's just that it wasn't really an issue until it started to get hot, and so they were sort of janky, they sort of worked, but and so anyway, they just flat out stopped working 3 weeks ago. Now, why have we not been able to get them fixed? Well, so my guy has this like warranty or whatever. I don't even know. I leave all that up to him, right? But he has this like warranty or whatever that will pay for repairs, but you have to go through it's like insurance where like you have to go through their system. And so these bureaucrats at this company, they're making us jump through these hoops before they actually send out a specialist who actually knows how these things work. And so what's happened is we probably have like 5 sets of people come out to our house in the last 3 weeks, 5 different occasions, seemingly, supposedly, purportedly to fix these newfangled, fancy, energy efficient air conditioning units, right? And each time they say, "Oh, we don't know how to work on this." So then the warranty or the insurance company or whatever says, "Okay, well, we'll send out someone else who does." And invariably, the new person who comes out, they don't know how to fix it either. And so finally, my guy was like, he got on the phone with someone. He's like, we will not accept another person who does not know how to work on these things. So you talk to the company and you get one of their reps out here to come and fix this. So we have literally been without air conditioning for 3 weeks. Now, my guy does have a portable air conditioner that he installed upstairs because we have a single bedroom upstairs. It's a small house. Like I live in a really small house, but it's got a second story and it's got like a cool little like rooftop sort of balcony thing. But anyway, so we got this small room upstairs, and so he has this small air conditioning unit that he has installed upstairs. And so why am I not up there? Well, it's because like upstairs is not very conducive to live streaming. I mean, I have done a couple of videos, but if you watch those videos, you've seen like it's very cramped and the lighting's not very good and stuff. But we do have air conditioning up there, but the rest of the house, no. So thankfully today it's been mostly cloudy. Now the sun is like finally like coming out, so I'm starting to get sweaty. But anyway, not going to stream too much longer. Going to do just 2 hours today. Anyway, so Johnny Depp, I'm really happy for him, and I think it was a great week, and I don't expect that the film's going to win any awards or anything, but it was enough just what's happened has been enough. It's been amazing. And so kudos to him. I'm really happy for him. And I just look forward to the day one day when Marilyn Manson will have this kind of comeback. And I do believe that it is going to happen. And I really like, I don't know how many of you saw this because I know I've got a lot of mostly Depp fans on this stream. But Marilyn Manson came out this week. So I told you last week he got that bad ruling. Very, very unfortunate, very, very unfair. It's a shame. It's California. Just, if you're in California, get the fuck out of there. That place, that's becoming some kind of a hellhole. I know not all of California, just, the cities. This is an aside, but I posted something on Twitter and Instagram the other day, and it was a picture of Johnny Depp in the movie From Hell. It's not one of my favorite Depp movies, but some of you have seen it, right? He plays an investigator who's trying to get to the bottom of the Jack the Ripper case, right? Anyway, so it's like what, 19th century? Anyway, but in the movie, Johnny Depp is an opium addict, and so there's some scenes that take place in an opium den, and I don't know if these places really looked like this in reality or if it's just the Hollywood version, but the opium dens always look so like cozy and comfy in these movies. Like you've got like they're always in red for some reason. I don't know why. And they always have like these nice sort of plush looking, couches and carpets and stuff. And you've got the really pretty, ornate, long opium pipes. And then you've got, people just sort of like passed out, on the nod. Anyway, so in this movie, Johnny Depp he's in an opium den. And so anyway, I posted something on Twitter and Instagram, and I said, I wish that we still had opium dens. They look so comfy and cool and comfy and pretty and everything. And now instead of opium dens, we just have the streets of California. I know, maybe it's not so funny. I can laugh at California because I live in Texas, and Texas is becoming California because the Californians are leaving California and they're coming to Texas. And guess what they're doing? They're bringing their California problems with them. And so, it's like, I never understand. I hate where I'm living now. So I'm going to move somewhere else. And then I'm going to try to transform that place into the place that I hated. Someone needs to explain that to me. I don't understand, because we have all these Californians who hate California and they're coming to Texas, and they get here and then they start making these laws to try to make Texas more like California. It's like, why? But anyway, I expect that not too long from now, our cities here in Texas will be just as shitty as your major cities are in California. So that's why I can laugh at California, because we are the new California. We even have Elon Musk. I don't know where Elon Musk lives. I would love to find out and go visit him. There was an interview with Elon Musk's one of his 500 baby mamas, Grimes. I don't know if they're still together or not. But anyway, there's an interview a while back, and she was complaining about how Elon Musk moved them to Texas, and they were living in a shitty suburb with no security and no gates. So basically, in a $50,000 home. So she was complaining about this. And which, I mean, I guess that if you're famous and you've got people bugging you, maybe it is annoying to not have security. But she was complaining about the fact that Elon Musk had moved them out to this suburb of Houston in a $50,000 home, and there was no security and there was no gates or anything. That's what she was saying, right? And so I was thinking, wow, well, I'm glad to know that. How nice of Grimes to publicize that. Now I can go try to find Elon Musk. But I camp out in his front yard. Oh, just a second. Sorry. Someone says they sent me a PayPal and it didn't work or something. Sorry, just a second. Let me see what's going on. Money first, everyone. Please, money first. Okay, this is what I got. I got something from AJ. AJ, you sent me way too much money. Oh my God. Way too much. All right. Thank you, AJ. And then Lisa, I got yours. Lisa, you sent me way too much money. And Lisa, by the way, we keep playing phone tag or whatever, but I'm going to be free after this. So call me after this. All right. And so to the person who said that my PayPal is not working, I don't understand because I've gotten 2 PayPals from other people. So I guess just try again. I don't know. Sorry. I appreciate you. I do. I don't know why it wouldn't work for you, but it did. Yes, it did work for others. So anyway. So yes, I want to go to Elon Musk's house and camp out on his front yard. And then when he comes out, then I want to ask him a bunch of questions about Amber Heard. I have a fantasy. Let me tell you about this fantasy. Y'all are gonna think this is crazy. And I'm not talking about, I'm just saying this now. Like I have thought about this on multiple occasions. Like I've actually like gone through it in my mind. Okay. So I'm not just saying this for the live stream. I have this fantasy of somehow being able to date Elon Musk one day, not for the money, although that would be a nice side benefit. But then if he's going to move me out to a Houston suburb in a $50,000 house, then I might as well just stay here. Of course, there I might have air conditioning at least. Hey, could Elon Musk come to my house and fix this air conditioning? Oh, that's a good thought. I bet he could fix this air conditioning. Anyway, I have this fantasy about, and obviously, like this is not, this would be in like an alternate universe if I weren't with the guy I'm with or whatever, right? Pure speculative or what's the word? Hypothetical here, but this fantasy about being able to date Elon Musk one day, not for the money, not for the clout, not for the connections, not for the bugged Tesla, not for any of that, right? Just so that I can bombard him constantly with questions about Amber Heard. What was it like to date Amber Heard? How crazy is she? No, really, how crazy is she? Tell me about all those orgies. Tell me about that mutual friend of yours whose dress she cut up in a rage. Like, I want to hear like all of it. I want to hear all the lies that she told you about Johnny Depp and what you think now that you realize that you were suckered by her and that she lied to you about all that shit. I want to know like how much of how much money did you invest in that crazy lady? I want to know about the eggs, the frozen eggs, and I want to know if that Una thing is his. I shouldn't call it a thing. It's a human being. But anything attached to Amber, I'm just kind of like, anything with her DNA floating around in it, I'm just like, Maybe the Elon Musk DNA is like cancels out the Amber Heard DNA though. I don't know. I haven't seen a picture of that kid lately. Does it look more like Elon or Amber? Can we do some kind of AI? Can we do some kind of AI investigation? Can we get some like Chat GPT or whatever that is to analyze the picture of Amber Heard's baby and tell me like if it sees evidence of Elon Musk DNA in there? Anyway, I want to ask all of these questions to Elon Musk. Like if I dated Elon Musk, he would get sick of me because all I would ever want to do would be to talk about the whole Amber Heard thing. So anyway, so yeah, I have this thing in my mind of like, wouldn't it be fascinating to date Elon Musk just so that you could finally hear like all of the dirt on Amber Heard? Oh, my guy just texted me, said, "Can I bring you a sandwich or something?" He must have sensed that I was talking about Elon Musk, and he's like, "Well, I can't provide good air conditioning, but I can sure fix her a sandwich." So, oh, he's outside now. He's lurking outside. Okay, somebody said Grimes is so much more interesting. Okay, I'm not going to argue with you about whether Grimes is interesting or not because I don't actually know. But I have not found one song of hers that I can listen to all the way through. I don't even know. Can you even call that music, what she does? I'm not even joking right now. When you get off this stream, people, I'm about to end the stream. When you get off this stream, you need to go and listen, go look up Grimes music. And I dare you, I challenge you to find one of those songs that you could actually say is a song. Because to me, it's just like this weird, like sort of sci-fi, like that's what it sounds like to me. Is that music? I don't know. I'm just getting to be so old. But that's what a lot of music sounds like to me now. Like the younger generations, they just love this sort of like tinny auto-tune sound. Like all the voices sound like even some Halsey songs and a lot of this rap and like Travis, what's his name? The Kardashian baby daddy, Travis. Oh, the one who crushed all those people at that concert. Anyway, what's his name? Travis Scott. Like I just try to listen to because he's this famous rapper. And I'm like, well, I like rap music. I liked NWA 200 years ago. And so I was like, okay, I'll try to listen to this Travis Scott stuff. And it was like all this like auto-tune, like tinny, like Like, what the fuck, dude? That's not music. But I guess I'm just getting old. Maybe I guess the younger generations, they hear that stuff and they're like, ah, man, this is rocking. It's like Led Zeppelin to them or something, I guess. I don't know. AJ, you said that's why I listen to the Band of Heathens. Yeah, AJ is he's a big fan of the Band of Heathens. So I didn't even know they existed until he was telling me about them. So I looked them up. But Autumn Renee, you want to hear that one more time? 90s music. Well, see, this is the thing. I think 90s music was such a golden age, but then I think, well, maybe I'm just old, and that's why I say that. I love classic rock above all else. So I should have been born in the late 60s and the 70s. I love classic rock above all else, but 90s music is a close second. The golden age of Kurt Cobain and of grunge and gangster rap and all like that, and not even that. The pop music was better. I'm sorry, I think the pop music was better. You miss Bush. Bush was great, but the pop music was even better back then. Like I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm just old, but I just thought it was all better. And nowadays, like I'm almost kind of mad sometimes. Not all of it, but sometimes when I listen to the radio, like look, I'm sorry. But Kanye West, he was wrong about the Jews, but he was right about one thing. He was right. Whoever heard of a Machine Gun Kelly song? Like I couldn't have told you until I had to look up a Machine Gun Kelly song because I didn't even know if I'd heard one. And then I looked it up and I was like, okay, there's one song that I've heard on the radio and I hated it. Like, I don't think he's any good. And yet he's so famous. It's everywhere you go. It's MGK, 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 and his Kardashian girlfriend. His Kardashian clone. Whatever. I don't know. Are he and Megan Fox are still together, right? They're going to counseling. I feel like if you need counseling after 1 year together, that's a problem. Like I think counseling is good, and I think before people get married, they should go through counseling. But like, if you need counseling and you're still in the honeymoon phase, what's going on, dude? What's going on? But anyway, I don't know. But yeah, like I don't know. I'm not saying there's not any good music. I'm just saying that I do find myself frustrated by a lot of stuff that I hear right now. But then I have people telling me that if you look hard, you can find the good stuff. So like maybe what's popular or what's getting a lot of promotion or what's on the radio, maybe that's not the great, but like if you like look, but I don't want to have to look. I didn't have to look in the 90s. In the 90s, it was just there. Okay. Here's some great music on your radio. Enjoy. The 60s and the 70s. Here's some great music. Enjoy. I don't want to have to look. I don't want to have to like go on a hunt, a treasure hunt to find music that doesn't sound like. So anyway. Stacy R, I think music is good again today. You mean today, like at this very moment, or you mean like the last like year or so? Stacy R, what's a group that you really like? I'm not saying there aren't some good groups. I'm trying to think of someone that I think is really good music. I like Muse. I like they're still making music, right? But even then, they're kind of considered a little bit in the past, aren't they? I don't know. Anyways. So somebody says Machine Gun Kelly was on an episode of Catfish. He flipped out on the catfish person. It was actually great. Well, I don't have any problems with him like as a human being or personal level, and I don't begrudge him his success. You know, look, great. He's obviously been able to figure out what some delusional people want to hear. And so he's a lot more successful than me. And like I said, he's got a Kardashian clone and everything. So yeah, clearly he's killing it. But just personally, it's not my thing. But then again, I was spoiled. I was a teenager in the 90s. I was a teenager in the 90s. And so I guess I was spoiled with that. I didn't even realize, that's the thing too. I think that's the thing about nostalgia is realizing that there was a lot of cool stuff in your past that you were not aware of at the time or that you really didn't fully appreciate at the time. And so anyway, I'd like to go back and tell my teenage self to you really need to enjoy this music. Or teenage and yeah, I was in high school I graduated high school in 99. Yeah. So like when NWA and all that stuff was coming out, I wasn't exactly a teenager. I was a little younger, but even so, but then when I got a little bit older and then I started listening to it, I appreciated it. My best exposure to music was always in church, though. I really learned to love music to the degree that I do. I'm not a huge music aficionado, but I really church, growing up in a Baptist church, I love those old hymns. Of course, that's another gripe that I have because now, it's all about the Christian contemporary music. I go back to church with my mom now. They're not even singing the old hymns. It's all of this, like new stuff that it's like a Christian version of. No, it's not really. It's more like, well, you know what it's like. I don't even have to tell you. But yeah, I loved I loved hymns so much that sometimes when I was a little kid, my idea of a fun Sunday afternoon, I would shut the door in my room and I would get out the Baptist hymnal and I would just spend hours just singing songs from the hymn. That sounds kind of weird actually, like I'm a character in, a Stephen King movie. But anyway, I really like the old hymns. And I like Elvis, I like that Elvis would sing the old hymns too, if you know anything about Elvis, you know that he learned how to be a great singer in church. And so and that's why, in a lot of the songs that he covered were gospel songs. So I wish that we had someone today, like a major musical star who would actually, not someone who was relegated to Christian music, right? Because it's like you get ghettoized in the Christian music world, right? But like someone who's like mainstream, like Elvis was, a big star, but who will sing some gospel music. I think that would be really, really cool. I know that they do that a little in the country world, I guess. And while I'm on country music, last thing, and then I'm gonna have to shut the stream down because I'm tired and I want to take a little break, and then hopefully I need to talk to a couple of people actually. But what was I going to say? Oh, gospel music. If you have, was it Hulu? I think it's Hulu. Yeah, I think it's Hulu or maybe it's HBO Max. But I saw the other day the series, the drama series George and Tammy, about George Jones and Tammy Wynette. Michael Shannon plays George Jones, and Jessica Chastain plays Tammy Wynette. And I have zero familiarity with their music. The only song I do not know a single George Jones song. I know one Tammy Wynette song, and it's the same song that everybody knows, "Stand by Your Man." But I thought that was the most fascinating show. I knew nothing about their lives or their relationship or anything, and I thought it was great. So I highly recommend, if you have, I think it was Hulu, maybe it was HBO Max, but wherever, you look it up and find it. But if you have a little money to splash out on a membership, check it out. That was a really good series. And man, George Jones he's a pretty messed up dude, but likable, but messed up. He basically torpedoed his career from just alcohol. And of course, a lot of people in those industries get into that trap. But anyway, it was very interesting. And I did not know that Tammy Wynette, when she was a young girl growing up, she was obsessed with George Jones. So, he was older than her. So he was a big star when she was a little girl growing up. And so she actually had a book, and she was such a huge George Jones fan that she had this book, and she had like all of his songs written down in this book, and she really cherished it. So then later, when she broke into country music and she met George Jones, she fell in love with George Jones. It was like this sort of amazing thing because she was actually getting to be with her idol. And of course, then she got to see what's behind the idol, right? Which is, that's the thing, right? The man, the woman behind the image. And what she saw is that he was in a lot of ways, a sweet guy, a good guy, but also a very troubled guy and difficult, guy, and a guy with big substance abuse, big drinking problem. So anyway, they ended up getting a divorce, but they still made music together, and they continued to support each other, and they had a warm relationship and all of that. But I thought it was a really interesting series, so you should check it out. Laura B, did Colonel reply to you about the tips you sent? Okay, so Laura, was it you, Laura B? Laura B, I don't know, because I have been getting tips from PayPal. I see them. So I did not get yours, and the only thing I could figure is that it just something must have maybe glitched out or gone wrong. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't really know what to tell you. I'm not sure. But I don't show that I've received anything. So you don't have to worry that like it's been taking money from you or whatever. I don't have anything on there. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. E-Hacker said he sent her like a year ago. Yeah, I got yes, I got your donation. It wasn't a year ago. I think it was several months ago. Is Laura B still on here? Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay, so Laura B, I know the chat is delayed. So anyway, I addressed you and yeah, so let me put it this way, Laura B, if you sent me something, I did not receive it. So anyway, I can here. Can you even see that? Oh shit. No, I'm fucking things up. Yeah, so there's no Laura. There's no Laura B on here. Now there is sugar. There is this sugar store here at the bottom that I paid money for Pez. I bought $5 worth of Pez, which was probably not the best use of my money. So anyway, so Laura B, if money was taken from you, then you should contact PayPal and see if it went to somebody else, or maybe there's some kind of a delay, but I didn't receive it. So anyway, sorry. All right, everybody, I gots to go. Thank you so much. My PayPal, by the way, for everybody, my Patreon and my PayPal, they are linked below in the description. By the way, if you PayPal me, it does come up as Walter Kurtz, and you might wonder why is that. I do need to change that. The reason for that is Walter Kurtz is the name of the Colonel Kurtz character in Apocalypse Now that I base my name on. So like Colonel Kurtz is Walter Kurtz. And so for some reason, this was way back when I didn't want to use my real name or whatever. And so I had it. So I had the fake Walter Kurtz name. So if you do send me something, people, and you see Walter Kurtz come up, you won't be like, wait, what's going on here? That is legit. That is me. But Laura B, I don't know why yours hasn't come through. So I don't know. Anyways. Okay. Everybody, I appreciate your support and everything. And yeah, okay. This is the end of this stream. It will stay up on YouTube. So if you want to come back to it later, or if you were in and out, check it out. And I will be coming out this week with more Johnny Depp stuff, more Manson stuff. And also, I'm going to be getting into some new things. I'm going to be getting into, finally, I've been saying this for like 2 weeks. I was going to do a video on the Josh Homme controversy, and it keeps getting bumped back because like the Johnny Depp stuff and all of that. But it is coming out this week. I finished the video. I just need to push it out. But I'm going to be wading into another controversy. So hopefully I can acquire some new haters, because I don't know, I'm kind of getting tired of my old haters. It's time to bring in some new haters. So I'm expecting a whole new crop of haters to be coming onto the scene when I produce my Josh Homme video. So you can look forward to that. But yeah, everybody, thank you so much. Love y'all. Go Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, and JPARS 90. Oh, thank you or whatever that is. Yeah, 90. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Marilyn Manson is innocent. He is back. He came out this week. I didn't finish that story. I got on a tangent, but this week he put out a message on Instagram, a new post on Instagram. He looks great. He looks amazing. And he told us that he is putting out new music. He has something new for us to hear coming up. There's some other stuff, y'all, going on behind the scenes. I don't want to say, but there's other stuff. There's other stuff being worked on. There's other things you're going to be seeing more, I think, from Marilyn Manson in the not too distant future. So anyway, good stuff there. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Love y'all. Bye-bye. Bye, eHacker. Next time, eHacker, when you come on, Laura B, I'm just going to private message you here. Maybe we can sort this out that way. Let's see. Hold on a second. How do I private message? Oh, I don't know. Laura B, I'm going to try to figure out a way to get in touch with you, and we'll try to sort this out. But I don't know what's going on. Okay, everybody else, bye-bye. See you later.